Hello again, good people, and welcome back to the channel. This is your Dr. Zach. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing so that you won't miss out on any future videos coming. And if you are returning, thanks for tuning back on. Subscribe as well if you haven't subscribed yet. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how you can make money and become financially successful in diaspora. I want to share with my brothers and sisters who are scattered everywhere in the world about how you can financially make it in life using diaspora. I'm a hustler and I'm an investor. I am an author of 5 books. I write about entrepreneurship. I write about generational wealth creation. I write about business. I write about leadership for development. First things first, why do people travel abroad or outside their countries? There are several reasons why people travel. The major reason why people travel abroad is mostly to do with greener pastures. People are traveling or are going abroad to look for better life, better standards of living, and better income. They want to build a better life for themselves, which they can't do when they are in their country they are born in. That is why people go to diaspora. The other reason why people go for diaspora is people go to study, to take further studies and go back to their countries. So some just travel overseas or outside their countries to further their studies. After getting that education, they go back and use that skills in their own home countries. Some choose to stay and some choose to go back. Now, my advice is mostly for people who go for economic reasons, people who go to diaspora in order to improve their lives, in order to make money and invest to have a better life. I want to advise how you can successfully make it using the principles that I have used myself, using my experience. So I want you to learn from my experiences. I'm aiming to educate, motivate, inspire, and empower you. Number 1, when you get to diaspora, when you settle in another country, you have to understand the basic principles first. The principles are the salaries and wages are usually based on the expenses specific to that country, specific to that region. So salaries are created in such a way that they match the expenses. As an employee or as a worker, when you start working in diaspora, you usually find or discover that whatever you earn, your income, is usually just good enough to cover your expenses. And by the end of the day, you are left with not so much to save, just like the locals. This is a basic principle. This applies everywhere. Salaries are determined based on expenses. Basic salaries are not meant to make people rich. So this is principle number 1. From this principle, I want you to learn that if you go to diaspora and try to live like a local there, you end up, in most cases, become worse off than when you were before. This is because you've just been in, you don't understand the systems yet, you're just living by the day, you will end up just living paycheck to paycheck, paycheck, because you find that rent is very expensive. Even if you try to buy a house, the mortgage is very expensive. It takes you 25 to 30 years to pay off. The rentals are extremely high. Food is high. Bills are high. So whatever you earn, after you deduct all those expenses, if you're not careful, you can be worse off. So the trick is, what you need to do in order to make it financially, you have to live the most basic lifestyle. Carry on with the life that you had wherever you come from. Live below your means. Don't try to live like the locals, because that's their country. You are just a foreigner and you are trying to achieve something, a financial goal. If you live like you are native, it will take you a long time for you to reach your financial goals. People who are born in that country, they've learned the way as they grow up, because they are very familiar with everything, they are very familiar with the systems, and they know what they want as well. You are learning everything. Just be yourself. Try to live very frugal life. Don't try to compete. Try to minimize your expenses as much as possible. Even if it means sharing houses with other people, it doesn't matter. Try to take lunch at work instead of buying. Avoid buying coffee every day. Make your own coffee. If you're a coffee fan, make your own coffee. There are very cheap coffee making machines these days. If you buy coffee every day, you realize that it can consume a huge chunk of your income. It will take you a long time to achieve your financial goals. Number 2, take advantage of the currency difference. Currency in your country, your home country, is usually weaker than that in the foster country. Sometimes it's the other way around for some countries. Take advantage of that. You are earning an income in a higher currency. If you convert that and put it back to your country, that same amount will go further in your home country than if you try to use it in your host country. This is a no-brainer. You can easily buy a property, a house, back in your home country using the currency in your host country. It's easier to do that in diaspora, purchasing a property back home, than trying to purchase a property in your host country. It takes longer. Don't copy the locals, because that's their country. That's where they are. That's where they live. You are not them. Don't forget that you are not them. You've got a target to achieve. So if you take the money that you earn and invest it back to your home place, you will find that the return on investment is usually way higher than if you try to invest in your host country. I'm not saying it's bad to invest in the host country. I'm not saying it's bad to buy a house in your host country. I'm just giving you the comparison. Some people obviously want to settle permanently in the host countries, and they're thinking of very long-term goal. Some people don't want to go back forever. It's your choice. You just do whatever you want to do. I'm talking to people who are preparing a better life for themselves when they go back to their home countries. This is the strategy that I'm prescribing. Don't try to live a lavish life. Don't spend too much money in parties. Don't think you've made it just by being in diaspora, just by going to London, just by going to Sydney, Melbourne, just by going to Auckland, just by going to Vancouver. Chill down. You've got some financial goals to achieve. If you want to make it well, and if you want to take advantage of the opportunities, don't fight with the locals in your host country. Try to fit in. Try to live in harmony with them. When you do so, they are able to teach you stuff. They are able to disclose some information to you. They are able to help you. Don't try to be I know it all person. You don't know nothing. That's why you are there. You have got a skill, yes. You can be more skilled or better skilled than them, but they know much better about their country more than you. So you need them, and you need to work in harmony with them. Don't start fighting with them, with the local people. Don't take their ladies. Don't take their men. You can intermarry, it's allowed. But there are some people who have got a habit of competing for women, competing for men when they go to diaspora. If you do that, you lose your way. That will be the end of yourself. Some people might start sabotaging you. You might struggle to get some work, some jobs. You might struggle to get support from anyone because you think you're clever. So it's better to appear as if you don't know much, appear ignorant, so that people help you. Swallow your pride. Of course, you've got these qualifications. Swallow your pride. You are not in your home country. But evaluate yourself. If you live paycheck to paycheck and you're left with nothing, there was no point for you to go to diaspora. Make sure by the end of the month or by the end of the week, you are making some savings. What to do with those savings? You invest to multiply. Don't just save money, because money is affected by inflation. $1 today is worth less next week, is worth less tomorrow, is worth less next hour. So you need to save, but save for something. As soon as you get to the amount that you want to start a project, invest that money. There's no point in saving for 30 years, because by the 30th year, that amount of money would have lost a lot of value. Understand inflation. Inflation applies to all currencies, including the US dollar, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. When you save a substantial amount of money, try to invest it in an asset. Buy assets that generate passive income. Buy properties. You can buy back a home and put tenants so that they give you rental money as passive income. Continue to do that. Make sure by the end of every year you have something tangible that you have done. Evaluate, sit down with your family and evaluate what have you achieved this year. Before you do that, beginning of every year, sit down and plan and set a goal. What are we going to achieve by the end of this year? You can set monthly goal. What are we going to achieve by the end of this month? or you can set annual goals. What are we going to achieve by the end of the year? End of month comes, end of year comes, you will sit down again and evaluate. If we achieved what we set to achieve, if not, what went wrong? Where did we go wrong? What can we do to improve next time? Regroup, reset, start again, aim higher, raise your standards, start investments. When you go to diaspora and you settle in a new country, don't relax. It's not time to relax. It's time to work. Work your butt off. It's time for you to work harder, even harder than what you did in your own country. You're in a foreign land. You don't go to foreign land and start sleeping there. You go to foreign land to work, to earn a living, and to invest for future. Work hard, work hard, work hard. Work smart as well. Continue learning and working, and investing. You don't go to foreign land to start partying every day, to start drinking alcohol, indulging in drugs. Crime does not pay. Everywhere. Worse off when you're in diaspora. If you commit crime, you are ruined forever. Don't ever do some silly things that will take you in jail. Domestic violence, robberies, drug trafficking, murder. Live an honest life, an upright life. Know what you went there for. You must know your purpose. You must know what you travel to those faraway lands to do. You've got some goals to achieve. You have got something that you're focusing to achieve and get out of it. Make sure you achieve those goals. Focus on achieving those goals only. That's what you went there for. That's what you got there for, to do. Don't be notorious. Stay in your lane. What you also need to do is to go back to your homeland as often as possible. Some people do it twice a year, some people once a year, some people monthly if you can afford. Even if you're sending some people to do projects for you, when you go there on the ground, it's easier for you to pick up when things are not matching. Remember, you'll be running some of the projects when you're abroad and you are sending some people back home to do stuff for you. So you have to stay in touch with the prices, with everything, with how things are happening. People won't take advantage of you, people won't rip you off, or you won't assume that people are ripping you off when they are not. So sometimes you might think that people are misusing your money, and yet it is the changes of things that's happening. When you don't go back as often, you would think that people are taking advantage of you, and yet sometimes they are not. If you also don't go back, some unscrupulous people can take advantage of that as well. Take and leave your annual leave, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, and go beyond the ground. Do your stuff and then go back. Look for some more money. The other thing is, try to remit as much money as possible back home for your investments. It's legal to do that. You do it legally. It is known that when people go to foreign land to work, they are looking for money to make their own investments. So you can send back money you earn, as long as you don't steal it, as long as you earn it legitimately. There's no reason why you can't send it back home to do your own investments. This is how you can develop quickly. Remit. Don't try to spend it all, otherwise you lose your way. if you spend it all where you are based and you're not even developing that place you're based, you're just spending it, you're going backwards. There are some people who are in diaspora who find themselves to be worse off than they were back home. And there are some people who are extremely successful in diaspora. It's your choice to find which category you want to get into. Talking of people who are already in diaspora and for people who are planning to go to diaspora, I'm giving you these tips. You need financial literacy so that you know what you're doing. You know how to invest. You know how to use money. Financial literacy is knowledge of how to use money, how to create money. It's the knowledge of money. How you can create income, how you can save it, how you can invest it, how you can multiply it to become an empire and create generational wealth. You need that if you're in diaspora. If you're just living ignorantly, and you'll be embarrassed to go back home one day when you don't have anything after spending so many years in diaspora away from home. You discover that you've got nothing tangible to show. There are so many people in that situation, and this is why I am teaching you this. This is why I'm advising you. This is why I'm sharing this information, so that I educate you, I motivate you, inspire you, and empower you. Up to you to listen, up to you to adopt what I'm saying. If you agree with some of the things I'm saying, please just write agree in the comment section. What you also need to do when you go to diaspora is learn new skills. Continue to learn. Build on your skills, personal development. See what is there, what is in the diaspora that is not in your home country. Learn and try to replicate those things that you're finding back in your country. There are some specific ways of doing things, ways of doing business, ways of living a life. Why can't you copy the good things? Replicate them back to your home. Skills transfer, exposure. Take advantage of that exposure. You have got an opportunity to see what is not in your home country. Don't just see, don't just look at them. Look, learn, apply, replicate. There's higher productivity in developed countries than in developing countries. There's a way of doing things that the developed countries have mastered. If you copy those things and apply them back to your home country, wherever you come from, or if you are from a developed country, there's obviously some things that you can learn to increase productivity back in your own home country. Increase efficiencies, increase the productivity, and more. You went there for money. You went to diaspora for a better life. If you go to diaspora for greener pastures, you better get those greener pastures and have something to show for it. Don't be a basket case. Don't be a laughing stock of the community. Be somebody. Do something that create an impact in your community back home, where you come from. Make a difference. Some people are known to have gone to diaspora and come back in coffins with nothing to show. Death is inevitable. Death is normal. Death is natural. Die with something. If you've got the opportunity to do so, die with something. When people are mourning you, they should be celebrating your life. Be used as a good example. Be known that you're the person who created that chain of retail shops Be known to be that person who created those bottle stores. Be known to be that person who built that lodge. Be known to be that person who built that complex. Be known to build those several houses, who develop those farms. Refuse to be just an ordinary person. You've got that opportunity to go to diaspora. Then don't be ordinary. You are no longer ordinary. Don't be just average. Try to excel and be a role model to your family, be a role model to your community, to your country. You can be a role model to your host country as well. Why not? Be a person of integrity. I've realized that in the Western countries, integrity is a big thing. You have to be honest. You have to be respectful. You have to be trustworthy. Those are the values some people hold very, very highly up there. I'm not saying in some countries it's not like that, but I'm saying this very, very emphasized in the developed countries. More than in the developing countries, I've realized from my own experience. If they trust you, you get something out of it. If you show your integrity, it's always rewarded. Integrity is rewarded. It's very beneficial. Time management. This is something that you really have to be conscious of. You cannot create time, and time flies past very, very quickly. Before you know it, you are too old to work and you are still in diaspora. It's easier for you to work very hard in your early years of your career, and then if you like, you can go back to your country or you can stay. Up to you. But at least try to manage your time well, so that you become financially successful early in your career life. Make some investments. Create a better future for yourself. Create generational wealth in your prime time. Don't try to do it in your wee hours of life. Time is gone. The train has passed. Don't waste time. Time is not waiting for you. You've got to respect your time. You've got to respect people's time. You've got to respect your future generations' time. A lot of generations after you are depending on you. Create a better future for that generation. You have got that opportunity to be in diaspora. Make use of the opportunity. Don't do something that you regret later on. When you are in diaspora, it's important to make good connections, new friends, new colleagues, develop good relationships, and work in harmony with everyone. Some people stay connected with their friends for a long time. Another thing that you need to do when you're in diaspora is to stay original. Just be yourself. Self-awareness is very important. Don't try to imitate the next person. Don't try to change your accent. Capitalize on your originality. It's very important to be original. No one else is like you. That's your unique selling point. And when you are not imitating others, you live a very simple life. It's very easy. It's very difficult work to be pretending to be who you are not, because you have to do that every day. It's very hard work. It's easy to be just yourself. If people laugh at you, that's it. That's their problem, not yours. Why would people laugh at you? Why would people laugh at your accent? Even if you don't speak English that well, who cares? As long as you can communicate. You don't need to be fluent all the time in English. English is very difficult. Fortunately, English-speaking people don't laugh at people who break their language. They're even impressed by your English-speaking skills, despite its brokenness. They understand it's your second language or your third language, in some cases your fifth language. I've traveled in many English-speaking countries. They don't laugh at people who are not fluent in their language. They are always receptive when you're communicating with them. They are very patient too. In some cases, I had to repeat myself a couple of times, of course. Accent is very deep. Chisamanyika chapinda ne Diaspora. English aramba kubuda. Ona Mulungu akakutarisa dai. Ukaona aramba akangokutarisa dai. Ozeri chachaya. Inotangidza futi. Most of them are highly civilized people. They are highly tolerant to other cultures. They are very respectful and very friendly. Otherwise, most people in diaspora will find life very difficult. There are some few exceptions, yes, just like everywhere. But what I've discovered is if you stay in your lane, if you stay humble, you usually get a lot of help. People tolerate you if you are humble, if you are a humble person, if you are willing to learn, if you are not a bossy, if you are a good team player, you can always achieve your goals. The other thing that you need to do when you're in diaspora, if you choose to start a family or if you have a family already, try as much as possible to raise your kids well. There are a lot of cases of people who are neglecting their children. People who are not taking time to discipline their children. People who are not spending some time with their children, showing them the way. Some children end up in jail. Of course, things like that can still happen even if you are a good parent. But there are some cases of parents also not taking fully responsibility of their children's welfare. It's up to you to groom your children, show them the way, be a good role model, give them education, show them the way, and always reminding them that they should be in their best behavior in order to make it. They should take advantage of the good education systems, the better opportunities, and take advantage of them to create their own life. Don't get them to rely too much on you. It's better to teach them some skills so that they are able to look after themselves. You won't always be there for them. One day you pass on. One day you go to another country. One day they will grow up, and one day they will be married and start their own families. So children need to know that parents won't always be there for them. They should be taught how to be independent, how to generate income, how to build on generational wealth as well. When your children are helping to build generational wealth, you are successful as a generation, you are successful as a family. Make use of this advice. People in diaspora, don't forget where you come from. Don't forget your homes. Don't forget that you've got a role to play where you come from. Don't forget that you can be a cornerstone to your family, to your community, to your country. You can be a cornerstone to the world. Develop your community. Create generational wealth. Well, that is what you go to diaspora to do. Whatever diaspora you are in, be a good ambassador of your home country. Your country should be proud of you. You are a good representative. If you agree with what I'm saying, please write in the comment section agree. If you disagree, also please write in the comment section disagree. Press the like button if you like the content. I wish you the best in the diaspora. I wish you abundance and everything good that comes with it. This is your Dr. Zek signing out.